The sun does not rise. It bleeds through a sky the color of a fresh bruise. A smear of blood or inch light struggles and fails, a dying ember in a hearth of ash. The earth, once sharp with the scent of salt spray and damp earth, is thick and gritty. It coats the tongue with the taste of rock dust. A fine, grey powder, lighter than sand, settles on everything, on the broad leaves of the tissima melons, on the dough, cracked skin of the clown, on the still surface of the waterhole, which now reflects nothing. The rhythm of prehistoric life, a pulse beaten out over 1,000 generations, is stopped. The birds are silent, the hum of insects is gone. There is only the whisper of the falling ash and the sound of their own, suddenly labored breathing. These are early humans, a small band of Homo sapiens bound by blood and memory, stand at the edge of their familiar world, watching it disappear. That old man, his face a roadmap of scars and seasons, crumbles the powder between his thumb and forefinger. It is not dust. It is not sand. It is stone, ground to nothing. He has seen the sky burn with lightning and roar with thunder. He has survived droughts that baked the earth into a puzzle of cracks. This is different. This is a theft of the world itself. His gaze lifts from the dead earth to the horizon, away from the inland plains that have sustained them, and toward the coast. There, carved into the limestone cliffs by millennia of tides, is a cave, the dark mouth in the rock they have always known, but rarely used. It is damp, and the acoustics of the sea make strange ghosts of the wind, but it is shelter. It is a fortress. This is the dawn of the volcanic winter, an event for which their collective memory, the accumulated wisdom of all their human ancestors, has no precedent. The matriarch, her infant clutched tight to her chest, meets the old man's eyes. No word is exchanged, none is needed. The unspoken consensus ripples through the 20 souls who comprise this family. The young hunters, their muscles coiled with a useless strength against this intangible enemy, retrieve their fire-hardened spears. Women gather what they can, dried strips of springbok, gourds of precious water, the sharp flint flakes that are the cornerstone of their survival skills. Every movement is precise, economical. There is no panic, only a deep, cold understanding. To stay is to be buried. They move as one, a dark thread of life against a monochrome landscape. Their bare feet leave shallow prints in the deepening grey carpet, prints that are erased moments after they are made. They pass an eland, one of the great spiral-horned antelope, its sides heaving, its breath a rattling cough as it struggles to clear its lungs of the suffocating dust. It tumbles, its great weight finding no purchase, and falls. No one looks back. Wasting energy on pity is a luxury they cannot afford. Their world has been reduced to a single, desperate imperative. Reach the cave. They are seeking more than shelter now. They are seeking a refugium, a pocket of existence where they might outlast the sky's long death. As they finally reach the cliff face, the air inside the cave smells of salt and stone and dampness, the smell of life. They huddle together in the half-light, a small, fragile island of warmth and breath, and watch as the grey curtain seals the entrance, swallowing the last of the light. Days bleed into one another inside the stone womb. There is no sun to mark their passage, only the subtle shift in the grey light at the cave's mouth. The world outside has become a ghost. The constant whisper of ash is the only sound that proves it still exists. Hunger is the new chieftain. It sharpens tempers and hollows the eyes. The last of the dried meat is a memory, and the children's whimpers are thin and sharp in the cold air. This grim chapter of hominid history is written in the gnawing emptiness of their bellies. The late hunter, a young man named Teowar, watches the matriarch crush the last handful of dried roots between two stones. It is not enough. It will never be enough. He rises, his movement stiff from cold and inactivity. He picks up his spear, the fire-hardened tip smooth beneath his calloused thumb. He looks at the two other men who are strong enough to walk more than a few hundred paces. Their shared glance is a pact. They will go out into the grey. They will hunt the ghosts. The world they step into is an alien planet. A thick blanket of ash muffles every sound, absorbing the crunch of their own footsteps. The familiar contours of the land are softened, buried under a smooth, featureless shroud. They move through a purgatory of silence, their breath plumbing in the unnaturally frigid air. The very process of human evolution feels suspended here, in a world where the rules have been so violently rewritten. They are hunting for the last of the Pleistocene megafauna, the great beasts that once defined their landscape. But the heads are gone. They find only bones, skeletal outlines already half buried. After hours of walking, a shape resolves itself in the gloom. A longhorn bison, one of the ancient, shaggy titans, stands with its head bowed low, its massive frame trembling. It is not grazing. It is dying, its lungs ravaged by the poison air. There is no strength in it, but there is still weight, and a desperate, primal terror. The hunters are pathetic, clumsy affair. The men are weak, their movements slowed by hunger. The bison, in a final surge of adrenaline, swings its massive head, and a horn catches the youngest hunter. Bowen, in the thigh, tearing through muscle and sinew, he falls with a choked cry. KO on the other hunter. Tem, do not hesitate. They drive their spears into the beast's neck. A grim, necessary act of execution. It collapses into the ash with a great sigh. The victory is silent and bitter. Owain is bleeding badly. In the old world, a wound this severe was often a death sentence. But they will not leave him. This is the unthinking calculus of their community. Tem presses a wad of moss into the wound while KO uses a flint knife to begin the hard work of butchering the carcass. They will take only what they can carry. The heart, the liver, and 2 haunches of meat. They fashion a crude stretcher from their spears and strips of bison hide, then begin the agonizingly slow journey back. Every step is a monument to their shared will. They return not as triumphant providers, but as weary survivors bearing a wounded comrade and a reprieve that feels perilously temporary. In the flickering firelight of the cave, the matriarch takes a piece of red ochre from her pouch. She grinds the pigment and mixes it with the bison's blood, creating a thick paste. She doesn't paint symbols of the hunt. Instead, she draws a single, straight line on the forehead of every clan member, from the newborn to the bleeding OAN. It is not a mark of celebration. It is a promise. We are one blood. We share one fate. We will endure this together. The bison meat does not last. It is a brief stay against an execution, a fleeting warmth that vanishes into the gnawing cold of starvation. Ohm's wound festers. He shivers with fever, his breath coming in ragged gasps. They are dying, slowly, quietly, in the dark. The will to hunt is gone. There is nothing left to hunt. The world beyond their stone sanctuary is a graveyard, a silent monument to a time before humans learned the true fragility of their existence. The old man, his body withered but his eyes still sharp, spends his hours at the cave's mouth. He does not watch the dead land, he watches the sea. The sea is the only thing that does not change. It still breathes. Twice a day, it pulls back its grey blanket, exposing the black, slick bones of the shore. And on those bones, life clings. He rises, a slow unfolding of old joints, and gestures to Kaoroa. He points not to the plains, but down, toward the water's edge. Kaoroa looks at him, his face a mask of exhaustion and doubt. The sea offers nothing but cold water and barren rock, but the old man is insistent. He picks up a sharpened piece of flint, one of the ancient tools of his people, their minds praying, scraping, a flicker of understanding, or perhaps just a willingness to try anything, crosses Kor's face. He gathers the matriarch and one other woman, and they follow the old man down the treacherous path to the shoreline. The air is brutally cold, thick with the smell of brine and decay. At first, they see nothing, but the old man kneels, his ancient fingers tracing the edges of the rock pools. He points. Smooth. Conical shells cling to the stone. Mussels, their dark shells clamped shut like fists. Limpets, holding on with a strength that seems impossible. This is the world of intertidal foraging. A classroom of survival they never knew they needed. With their flint flakes, they learn. The first few shells are crushed. The meat inside mangled,
side by side,
but their cognitive fluidity, the brilliant hallmark of their species, allows them to adapt. They learn the right angle, the precise amount of pressure. They pry the stubborn life from the rocks and gather it in a skin pouch. It is a meager harvest, slimy and strange. But back in the cave, roasted in the fire's embers, the shellfish offer a burst of salt and sustenance that is nothing short of miraculous. It is not the rich fat of a bison, but it is life. It is predictable. The sea gives its gift twice a day, every day. Their new knowledge becomes a ritual, a rhythm to replace the one they lost. They are no longer just hunters of the land, they are harvesters of the sea. Their hominid history has reached a critical turning point, an adaptation born of pure desperation. Own's feeder breaks, the children's bellies are filled. The dark, hopeless silence of the cave is broken by the clicks and scrapes of them opening shells. Here, in the flickering firelight, they take the red ochre and paint on the cave wall. Not a great beast, but a wave, and a hand reaching for a shell. Their story is now etched in stone. One afternoon, as the tide recedes, a young girl born in the long dark looks up at the cave mouth and points. A thin, impossible slit of color has pierced the grey pole. It is a pale, watery, untakingly familiar blue. The memory of the sky has returned. They do not cheer. They do not celebrate. They stand at the mouth of their rock shelter, gaunt figures of ochre and ash, and watch the slow, miraculous return of the world. They are survivors of an apocalypse, a remnant of a species pushed to the very brink of extinction. The evidence of their ordeal, this desperate clinging to coastal refuges, will one day become a faint signal in the grand story of archaeology, a clue to how our species endured the 2BA catastrophe. These ancient humans, and a few thousand like them scattered across the globe, are the bottleneck through which all modern humanity squeezed. Every person alive today is a descendant of those who learned to scrape a living from the edge of a dying world. Their victory was not one of conquest, but of adaptation. They proved that the greatest of all survival skills is not the strength of the arm that throws the spear, but the flexibility of the mind that learns to see a meal in a place it never looked before. Their struggle, their reliance on the quiet bonds of community and the spark of foresight, is not a relic of a forgotten prehistory. It is our inheritance. The echo of their hard choices is the bedrock of our own instincts, a reminder that when the sky falls, our survival depends not on what we can defeat, but on what we can discover together. The past is never truly silent. It breathes in the space between our heartbeats. But what happens when the next predator walks on two legs?